Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and today we're going to be finishing Super Eyepatch Wolf's influencer courses are garbage, the dark side of content creation. If you happen to hear a little gremlin in the background, that's because my cat Triss is craving the electric sparky noodles that are all of the power cords in my office, and she's not allowed to chew on them because power cords. Seriously, why are cats so committed to unaliving themselves? That said, I'm very much glad she's distracting me because I remember I tried to finish this last time, and yeah, today we are definitely doing it, is what I would like to say, but I have absolutely no faith in my ability to get through this because this is a very rough video, and if it wasn't for the fact Super Eyepatch Wolf made it absolutely gripping and fascinating, I would have probably been like, you know what, I'm okay with not finishing this, but it's good, and I hate that he made this good because it hurts. If it looks like I'm trying to talk myself out of doing this, you're right. So before I have any 28th thoughts about it at this point, you guys know the deal. Link below video. Hit it up because as horrible, as soul-destroying, as crushing as this video is, it's good. Hit it up. Let's get started.
Okay, for this final section, I want to pose one last question. And it's not to the people running these courses or to YouTube itself. It's to anyone watching this who aspires to become a social media influencer or content creator or whatever you want to call it. And that question is why?
That is a very loaded question because the answer very much does depend on how you're going to treat YouTube. If you're like a lot of the people we've seen so far, and it's like, I want this to be my job. This is what I want to do for life. And I'm just sitting here going like, well, there's a chance you might succeed. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be absolutely crushed because this is not an easy platform. I don't do this for my living. I do this because it's fun and it's a nice little side hustle. And also, the irony of me saying it's fun while looking at a Super Eyepatch Wolf video and knowing that I'm going to be absolutely emotionally destroyed by the end of it is ironic, and I am aware of it. The irony is slapping me in the face right now, and when I leave this room, it'll be gnawing on my foot because I didn't let the kitten just gnaw on the sparky wires. That will actually be a look forward to distraction.
Why do you want to do this, and what do you think this is? Before I answer that question, I want to say two things. One, if this next bit comes across as me looking for sympathy or complaining that my life is hard, that is not the intention at all.
Honestly, I don't think he's the kind of person who would say that. His channel is successful. He knows what he's doing, and he's having fun doing it, it looks like. I don't think it looks like sympathy for him. Sympathy for other people, that very much came across. I remember the previous episode where you just saw the shock on his face when some people were talking and just that sheer, oh, fuck moment. He doesn't come across as he's coming out for sympathy. I don't think that's it. Now, maybe the next part really comes across that way. I don't know, but nah. I don't think that's any way possible that this could be drawn. I really doubt it'll go that way.
Kick-ass life. I have a great job. I have a beautiful partner. I have awesome friends. I'm doing okay. But
having a beautiful wife does help. Never mind, she can't hear me at the moment. Note to self, clip this and make sure she sees it. Oh, yeah.
But there's things about this job that I think need to be acknowledged. And two, I have worked sweltering long summers in Dublin inner city retail. I have delivered leaflets. I've worked as a painter decorator.
On the one hand, I've been to Dublin. Cool city. Busy city for Ireland. It is, from what I've been told, the most hip and happening and crowded place in the entire island. And I'm just sitting here going like, this is crowded? I'm not from a big city. I'm from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. If you haven't heard of it, it's because it's not that big. It's the biggest city in Appalachia. What that means is it's the biggest city in a range of mountains that aren't the Rockies. There's probably people watching that who don't know what that is either. At this point, though, mountain range on east of U.S. The names change every couple of states, and it's very confusing because some people don't know what the name of the actual mountain range is because they're wrong. I probably just started a fire and a fight with someone. I'm standing by that. But it's really not that crowded. Granted, comparatively, for some places it is.
I spent 6 years in the animation industry
Oh.
before I ever did this.
Ooh, I did not know about the animation industry. If anyone has any information on that, let me know. I'm actually very curious about what he previously did.
I have hired people, I have fired people, I have led teams, I have been fired.
Yeah.
And that's why I want you to trust me when I say this is the best job I've ever had, but personally, for me, it is also the one I find the most difficult. Is it financially lucrative? For me, absolutely. I make a better living doing this than I've ever made in my entire life.
Considering what some animators make, that's a very low threshold. Like, if you make a couple thousand a month doing anything, you're probably making about as much, if not slightly more, than some animators. Not in the US. US has some regulations, so they're at least sometimes up to $50,000 a year. Sometimes. Not always. It's bad. And then you're in Japan, and the numbers work out to, I've seen estimates of $30,000 a year in US dollars. Yeah. So animation is it's a low bar for income.
But you have to keep in mind, I am one of the galactically lucky few who it actually works out for. Is statistically getting into this line of work a financially terrible idea?
Yes. There is investment. You need to buy the equipment. You need to have an internet connection. You need to have a PC that can handle the internet connection. Trying to do it on anything else is a recipe for disaster. And unless cell phones drastically improve, it's just not worth it to edit on them. Doable, but not worth it, man. Granted, who knows? Maybe in a few years that will be different. But at that point, you're not buying a phone that's affordable. You might as well just buy a PC that's cheaper. And the fact that I could say that unironically is in its own way shocking, but it's true.
Absolutely. And so, what does that leave? Well, that leaves the internet fame. That leaves 1 million subscriber mountain. So for the final section of this video, what I want to do is talk about what that rise is like, what it's actually like starting out from 0 and making it all the way to 1 million subscribers.
While I can't empathize with the 1 million subscriber part, I can definitely understand what he's going to do talk about coming from 0, because his rise was different. He had success immediately because he knew his style and he went right into it. On my end, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing for years. And my videos were all over the place. As opposed to now, where I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, and my videos are all over the place. But now I'm doing it intentionally. I'm going to pretend that helps.
Thing that so many people dream of. If you want to know what lies beyond 1 million subscriber mountain, well, I am about to show you.
I've heard other people talk about it, but I'm interested in his experience.
Videos, it's likely because you really love YouTube. There's big creators on there that have shaped the way you see the world, and one day the thought hits you that, hey, maybe I could do this as well.
Oddly enough, that is exactly how I started. Of all things, I was watching a PewDiePie video where he was talking about hatred he got in the comments, and his entire advice was, if you think you could do better, do it. It's fun. And for some reason, that idea, I thought, okay, yeah, sure, maybe it'd be fun. And admittedly, it became fun initially when you're trying to figure out what you're doing, and you look at your own videos and like, oh God, what the fuck am I doing? That part's not fun, but it's not a bad idea. And if you enjoy doing it for fun, it's a great choice. Doing it for anything else, and oh my God, you are not going to do well, including the people who would do this on a corporate level, because with very few exceptions, corporate accounts that try and, here's how we're going to do this and conquer YouTube to promote our product, they don't usually go well unless they're massive. If you want to get an example of what I mean, look at The Escapist and how certain people were tasked with impossible goals to drive immediate social media dominance on YouTube. It's part of why people were then canned for not doing impossible tasks, and now second wind is a thing. There's a lot more to unpack in everything I just said. Frankly, just go watch the second wind videos about Yahtzee Croshaw when they talk about at the end of the not zero punctuation videos. There's a lot more to talk about here, and frankly, it's fascinating. But it does start here as if you want to do it because it's fun, that's great. Any other reason?
And those early days are so fun. Each view, each comment, it is an event. Even the negative.
Yeah, honestly, no, the comment thing, seeing people comment, the first comment on any new video is always the most incredible thing. Even when it's just someone writing first, it really does really solidify the idea that, oh shit, I'm not just talking into a void. Ah. Yeah, I remember that absolute massive rush of endorphins. It means nothing, but also it means literally everything at that point.
Negativity is fun. I remember the first time someone called me an autistic sperm blossom and thinking what a weird and creative insult that was.
True Gamer 6942 with an anime profile pic attempt. You're an autistic sperm blossom, lol. I hope this is actually what he was called because it's so incredibly stupid. I kind of like it.
Then it happens.
What?
You wake up one morning and a video you made has gone viral. Views start pouring in and it's exciting. And you notice something. People you've never met start talking about you, start having opinions on you. And
Yeah. Part of what he said is really cool. Seeing a video doing great. And frankly, it happens every now and again. And every time it happens, size doesn't matter. It's a sudden rush of, oh my God, there's the happy juice. And that is very accurate. But what he just said right there, they start having opinions about you. Yeah, you have actually probably some people have a very good idea of exactly the kind of comments. There are people who will come in here and say, oh God, reaction videos where you just stay quiet all the time and you just don't talk and steal content because you're just letting the video play while you walk out of the room. You're a monster for doing that. And I'm just sitting here going like, yeah, that's me. The quiet guy who doesn't talk. Yeah, there is an entire segment of YouTube that frequently goes to my comment sections to tell me I am bad for that reason. Not that reactions are bad, that reactions where you are silent are bad. This is the second time in this video where irony is slapping me in the face. Or maybe in this case, it should be someone else. But it's a thing, and it happens regularly. Oddly enough, they're probably some of the most dedicated viewers because they're on every video commenting and supporting the video because YouTube really takes into account interaction. And they probably hate that they keep getting recommended my videos, but they see everything and they hate watch everything. And they let the video play for minutes while they craft the perfect response to get me in the gut. And I'm just sitting here going like, I feel like I should do something nice for you because you've actually been very supportive. But I also don't think you would appreciate that. It's a very weird interaction. That said, I know that this is going to get dark really fast.
And most of them are positive. How does this guy have so few subs?
Yeah.
Oh man, I know this guy is gonna blow up.
Haven't got that
and
one.
Honestly, it's thrilling. Everyone's rooting for you. Everyone wants to see you, this underdog, this little guy, succeed.
But there's always the but coming, and this is where, oh yeah, it's about to hit.
It becomes more affection than you have ever received in your entire life. And it's great.
I don't know nearly enough about Super Eyepatch Wolf, John, to say anything about that comment, but really? I mean, I'm an antisocial introvert who is terrified by the concept of talking to people in public. It legitimately stresses me out. It's why I like doing YouTube. I can talk and there's nobody here. It's amazing. But to get overwhelmed, I guess the term would be love bombing by the internet. Yeah, it is. But just, it seems like a really big thing to say, though, just this part right here.
You have ever received in your entire life.
Speaking as an antisocial introvert, no, it's not. Granted, on the other hand, I've had a lot of experience with YouTube just being like a handful of nice positive interactions as opposed to someone who had an immediate viral video who then got all the interaction. I think by the time that happened to me, I was inured to it a little more, so I didn't hit nearly that way. It never felt like it was life-changing amounts of serotonin. It was just, whoa, amounts of serotonin, which doesn't seem like a big difference, but I would never have thought to describe it as more than any in my life for anything. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but that seems like a lot. I always just figured maybe it's just because I'm an introvert. That's why. I don't know.
And it's great. But then there's Andrew.
Andrew?
If you take any stance on any subject and voice that thought on the internet, you are going to piss off at least one person out of 100. And
for example, saying pineapple pizza is actually really good when it's done right. And dear God, everyone fucks it up. So many people just dry out the pineapple so it's not juicy and it's stringy and it's gross and terrible because it gets stuck in your teeth and it's just terrible. When you do it right, when the pineapple remains juicy because it's added on halfway into the pizza sometimes, or it's just cooked at a really low temperature consistently and in enough insulating cheese to keep it from losing its juice, when it's done well, it is amazing. But God help me, 9 out of 10 places you go will fuck it up. And the 10th one, even that's a toss-up. When you find someone who does it right, do it every time. It's amazing. You're never going to get it again.
And that person is Andrew. And Andrew
is that the first person he got?
Comments. Maybe he calls you a slur. Maybe he makes fun of how low your view counts are,
yep,
how you speak, or your intelligence. And Andrew is a pain. But
yeah,
he's one person out of 100. Whatever. Hell, even if a video gets 1,000.
The thing about 1 out of 100 is that when you get 1,000 views, there's 100 of them. When you get 1,000,000 views, there's 1,000 of them. Yeah. Kitten is meowing. It's adorable. I like the distraction.
Views, that's still only 10 Andrews. You can block or mute 10 people. It's not a big deal. And besides, you've got bigger things to worry about. Your sub count is growing more and more every day.
Oh.
In fact, those big YouTubers you look up to, you're still just this little guy, but some of your bigger videos, they're starting to compete with the videos of those bigger YouTubers. And it...
On the one hand, yeah, seeing any videos you did be up to actual respectable numbers on YouTube is crazy. I have a few that have done that, and I'm still kind of going like, what the fuck? It's insane, and it's really cool to see. But what they're getting to here is that this is a lot of projection still, isn't it? Yeah, that would do it. But there's going to be more Andrews.
It feels amazing. In fact, it's...
Dude. Sorry, I don't usually point out Super Eyepatch Wolf's art because, frankly, this is the first time I've seen it, but wow, that is an absolutely manic, disturbed face. I'm getting massive Digital Circus vibes here. If it wasn't for the fact I know that this came out only a year ago, really. Oh, wow. I would assume this came out much more recently because this is the face from the end of Digital Circus where the character Pomni breaks. And this is someone who's literally at that manic, happy level of, oh, I can do this. This is all mine. I can do this. Yeah. Oh, it's not going to go well.
Intoxicating.
Yeah.
See, you've always had these insecurities, these doubts about yourself, who you are, and what you can do. But now there's hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe tens of thousands
an ego
of
boost.
People who support you, who believe in you, and you need to keep them happy because this feeling cannot go away. You start thinking less about what you want to make and more about what your audience expects because something else has started to happen. That personal validation has also become financial to the point.
This is actually something that, well, I haven't really got hit by that nearly as much because, again, slapdash comments, slapdash videos, it's just whatever the hell I want to make. I do try and tailor it to what I think I want to make and also would align with what my audience wants. Sometimes I'm right. A lot of the times I'm very wrong. And then random things like the video about the Disney train were not what my audience wanted, but then just did well, and I don't get what the hell's going on, but okay, sure. But he's basically describing the beginning of an addiction cycle right here. It's that first hit of massive feel-good juice, followed by financial incentives. So it's actually the exact opposite of an addiction and more the exact beginning of a CEO. How to become an asshole. Yeah, don't think that's where he's going with it, but it does work.
Point that you can even quit your job and finally be your own boss.
Yeah, except realizing you're really not your own boss. You are the puppet of everyone, and you're never sure which one is going to be the one pulling the string tomorrow.
But that's not quite true, is it? You still have a boss, and it's not you, it's not your audience. Hell, it's not even human.
The algorithm?
It has no mouth, it cannot speak. It has no ears, it does not hear. It's YouTube. This giant, faceless entity, this is what decides everything about your life moving forward. But it's fine, it's fine, because every month it wordlessly slides you over a large chunk of money, and you look at YouTube, your eyes filled with gratitude, and it's like, oh shit, this is nearly as much as I made from my old job. Can I really have this? But YouTube doesn't say anything.
This is sort of accurate because it is better now, even within the last year. There are, at least on the creator side, more content pieces put out like, hey, here's what's happening recently. That said, I'm saying better, not good. It's better because they're trying now. They're not doing a good job at it, but they're trying, as opposed to for the, I don't even know how many years, I think 8? Oh shit, I've been on YouTube almost 8 years. Not this channel, but yeah, that I've done this. And for a lot of that time, the actual contact with anyone in YouTube was finding out whenever ads were taken down because PewDiePie said something or Jake Paul said something. And you would find out through media articles. And you're just like, oh, nice. We're completely redefining the platform overnight because of something I didn't even know about until right now. Lovely. It's better than that. It's a very relative better, but technically better.
Well, that's weird, but it's fine. You're just gonna keep making videos, and those numbers, those beautiful, intoxicating numbers, they're gonna keep getting bigger until the day.
You have no idea how hard I'm tempted to say, what do the numbers mean, Mason? I don't even care about Lost. It's been years. I didn't even finish the series because I heard how it ended and it was stupid. But that fits right here. And again, the manic, delusional amounts of joy right here. It's, God, he's doing a good job at animating something that's actually hard to watch.
Those big YouTubers, the ones that looked like gods when you started this, the gap between you and them, it's shrinking and fast until one day.
And if this was an anecdote he put in the beginning, it would be weird because most people fail. But we've already spent most of the video going over. Most people don't get here, so it works. Also, I do like how he elevated himself to fit into the crown of the one before him, so you can see it as if it's his crown for just a couple seconds.
Your subscriber count surpasses theirs, and you can't believe it. You've actually done it. You are just a normal person, and you have reached this status, and it feels so great. And you turn to your adoring audience and exclaim.
You either do something stupid. Also, the fact that they're in an almost monstrous position right now with the manic giant eyes. Yeah, he's definitely aware of what he's doing. This is a posing of someone who's about to do something stupid.
We did it, guys! We proved that even a normal person can surpass a big YouTuber. We don't hear applause. You hear silence. And that's when someone from your audience steps forward and says, dude, what are you talking about? You are a big YouTuber. And it's in that moment that something shifts. There is now a gap between you and your community. You are no longer one of them.
Huh. See, this is well beyond anything I've grown to, so I never actually reached that moment. Also, because even on my own Discord, the general response is, oh God, what did Airier do now? I'm not actually paraphrasing that. It has been said multiple times, and usually when I fuck something up. Usually with tech. Or accidentally the one time I unplugged something without realizing. But we're not going to talk about that because I definitely didn't do that and I didn't have to edit any videos to show that didn't happen.
You are no longer the underdog. You are no longer anti-establishment. You now are the establishment. And in
he
the
has the
same
crown.
way you used to look at those big YouTubers above you, there are now many smaller YouTubers who see you as the same, the status quo, and something to be dismantled. Remember Andrew?
See, that's one of those interesting moments I don't get. Wanting to dismantle people. I mean, I'm sure it probably happens because it's the competitive us versus them, setting goals for yourself to compete against, but is that true for everyone? This is actually something I'm asking for anyone else watching who has their own channel. What do you think? Is that how you feel about it? Because, I mean, I live in my own little world. You're watching me just having fun with it right now. I don't pay attention to a lot of shit like this. It legitimately is actually a problem I completely ignored until it bashes me in the face. And frankly, I don't care enough to fix that problem because it's not worth it. But I'm kind of curious if it's like that for everyone else, because that's not been my experience. But also, I'm a significantly smaller channel than this. So maybe that's the reason. Realizing that you're what you have aspired to, but it seems more like cool and neat. Move on, I don't care. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. And I don't think I can find out because, again, I'm not in this position. It's one of those things I would love to get more of the psychology on.
Drew, that one irrational person in 100, well, congratulations. Your most recent video has 100,000 views, which has created...
There's a lot of Andrews.
1,000 Andrews. And for as
Yep.
easy as it was to shut out 10 people, 1,000 is impossible. But it's not just that.
I mean, there is a reason a lot of people say don't read the comments. I mean, most people don't have the nicer chats that I do, and that's still weird to me, and I point it out frequently, but it's true, and it still is, and again, I have said this, and I'm going to continue to say it, weird. I don't mind, it's just weird. But even when you get one nasty comment, it sticks in your head, it lives in your head rent-free, because you start obsessing over it, unless you just manage to distract yourself and then, you know, stop thinking. I'm good at that last part, but it's hard.
See, those 1,000 Andrews, they're all making friends with each other. They have made their disdain of you part of their identity and united through it. They have discords where they talk about you. They dissect each tiny little flaw, from the words you've mispronounced to how you've been putting on weight.
Ah, yes, talking about all the words you've mispronounced. It's a good thing I don't do that. Oh, God. There's a quote section on my Discord where people point out all the stupid shit I said. I find it funny, but also because I do it so much that there's really no helping it. It's not going to change.
Recently, and together, the most
Feeling like the
passionate
wall is closing in.
them begin to invent creative ways to let you know that the public callouts are humiliating, the private messages are frightening.
Oh, so it's people taking it to a new extent to keep their harassment going because they think because you're a big guy, you're an acceptable target, and it's someone they could take their frustration and their anger out and misplace it. It's like, this is my punching bag. They can take it because they're big. It's a known thing that people online are idiots. I'm not even talking about specific people. I'm talking about humanity in general. Herd philosophy, man. If you get a bunch of people together, individuals can be smart. Groups are not. Groups of people online with anonymity, or worse, when they're getting acclaim for the stupid shit they do. Troll campaigns, people who live on hurting others, just being an asshole in general. That's the reason that I'm okay with being off social media in general. The other part is that I was checking all the time is like, you know what? It's stressing me out. Haven't been on Twitter in probably a year now. Facebook. Technically, I never deleted my account. I just lost my password. I never bothered to fix it. I more or less just kind of deleted the account without deleting the account, which I need to actually get around to doing, but I haven't yet. I have to fix that.
People you've never met are sending you disturbing images.
Yep.
People you've never met are saying they know where you live. And sure, the positivity is still there, but after long enough, it's hard not to go numb to it. And you hate that because you can tell these people love your videos, but the hate, that feels fresh.
Not to mention when he said, like, saying, I know where you live. It's even crazier when they do a basic search of your name, which you've probably mentioned before on YouTube. They find your address and they start sending things to your house because all of that information is publicly available, and things go bad. Because again, there's bad actors. There are people out there who want to cause pain, and you're now exposing yourself to that because someone gets a thrill out of doing that. Way earlier on, when I had a much smaller channel, I had one video that went really viral. They got 100,000 plus views when my average video got 3. And one of them was me checking in to see if anyone had watched and left a comment yet, because I didn't know any other way at the time to check that because I was so new. And I don't even think the YouTube app to easily check things was there yet. And checking on my phone was a bitch to go through the YouTube option. So just going to the channel itself was easier. But there was one guy who would come in and every video was, why are you getting views? I did a much better job than you. I went and did the exact same thing, but I did it much more accomplished. And he would just talk about how he was so much better and people should watch him instead. And that was his entire thing. Trying to build himself up by tearing you down because I'm assuming jealousy because I did something randomly that just happened to get approved by the algorithm. I checked his video. It was good. Personally, his comments prove that he, on a human level, was an asshole. But on an accomplished gamer level, yeah, he was better. He was also completely silent in his videos, and it was kind of weird. But his entire thing was coming to all the streams and just spewing his hate because instant gratification, I guess? I don't really get that mentality. I just don't. It doesn't make sense. But I'm weird. Maybe that's just me. But being surrounded by so many more people, like that one guy was just there constantly. One guy. That was my first Andrew. Thousands of them who have banded together because it's a way for them to just have fun spreading their own BS.
It feels frightening and real, and you cannot look away. Some people are even making videos about you, and it gets to the point that no matter what you say, one side of a debate will always become furious with you. But
it's literally the Tectone drama, isn't it? Not going to go into it, but there's people who like to just rile up because assholery.
Do you want to know the hardest part? Some of those people are right. You have made mistakes. You have fucked up. And some of those people are right to call you on it, while others just hate you with more passion than you have ever hated anything.
And the part about what he just said, it's not that some people are right. It's that you're so used to the second one that when someone is being honest and their criticism is there, it's hard to take because your initial knee-jerk reaction from the Pavlovian conditioning of asshole making threats, making your life hell because of their own personal fuck-ups, is that you immediately just disconnect. So someone who's actually being honest falls out. You're siloing yourself, which admittedly isn't even a YouTube thing. That's a problem with most of the internet in general, so yeah.
And you will pull yourself apart trying to figure out which is which.
Yeah, he's definitely showing off the
Then,
animation chops
one
here.
day, Boss YouTube slides you over a check, and it's way lower than every other check you've ever received, and you're like, wait, what did I do wrong? Why is this so low? How?
This is something I haven't had much experience with because I'm much too small for it to happen yet. But there's this one thing YouTube does when your subscriber count versus your watch time are out of whack. It used to be, and I don't think it is this way anymore, but they used to actually punish people with bigger subscriber counts that were dead. People who subscribed and then never went back, people who just weren't constantly active, to the point where they would actually penalize you for that. I don't think it's that way anymore because even as recently as just last year, it did feel like If the video didn't do so good by comparison to your cyber or subscriber count, it actually was going to show in how fast things dropped off. But I think it has moved away from that. But for a while, that was very much a concern. And it was an issue for bigger channels more than mine. But even then, for a small channel that had a lot of subscribers over time, but it was for a bunch of random things because, again, slapdash content, it was an issue. So the numbers going down because you're in a bad headspace, because you're not getting as many views when you're growing, because people aren't there for the rise anymore. They're just not there for that type of video you haven't made. Maybe you'll come back to try something different, but they're not there for that. And then it just goes a little down. Or just the other one, January. January is take all the money you made, cut it in half, and no matter what you do, it's going to hurt because the views are down, the money's down, the watch time is down. January sucks. Also, because if you're doing this during school, you have to go back to school, and that also sucks on top of it. Yeah, January is YouTube's dead month. If you ever see someone take that month off, that's why. Because them not working for a month is literally almost no different. Yeah.
How do I stop this from happening? But boss YouTube does not have a voice, cannot hear you.
And wouldn't care if they could.
Says nothing. You have to do something different. You have to change something about yourself, because that personal and financial validation that has made you who you are, it is all that's keeping the hate from consuming you, and it's disappearing. You lose sleep. You begin to see people talk about you in the past tense.
Lol, garbage. This is shit. Things have really gone downhill, huh? Wow, dude, what? Something? Lol, 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 lol. Yeah, and that is very much the YouTube feed, just looking through the new comments. Hell, it even kind of looks like that with the little balls.
About the days
They're basically describing
when your
burnout.
Channel used to be good, and it kills you. You start shutting down. You start blocking off avenues so that people can no longer contact you.
I mean, personally, I'm okay with shutting off avenues to be contacted online immediately. Internet is a shitty place, man. It scares the shit out of me. I'm personally okay with that. In fact, I would recommend not making it easy to contact you. But that's also because the idea of being contacted in general scares the shit out of me on a very normal basis, because again, introvert. So I might be a non-normal case here.
You turn off DMs on Twitter. You try not to look at YouTube comments. You get tired of people analyzing you, diagnosing your mental illness, acting like they know you.
Although, to push back on that one, the entire diagnosing you with mental illness, it's usually just someone being an asshole. But every now and again, people are actually providing good advice. For example, Jacksepticeye. His comments section for a very long time was like, dude, you have ADHD. And admittedly, a lot of them were probably just assholes going along with the meme, because there was also the meme of like, Jack's dead, or Jack's dad is dead, which admittedly, why? Again, going to the assholes who are just pieces of shit. That is it. But then other people pointed out, like, yeah, based on what you're talking about, you actually do seem to be presenting similar things to what would be ADHD. Jack went out, he got tested, he's ADHD, he has medication, but more than that, he knows how it works so he can work around it. That is a thing. It can actually happen. It's just the problem of good criticism versus assholes, and you inure yourself to the assholes so you don't actually pay attention to the good criticism. So even if something's up there, you ignore it, further siloing yourself in your own little bubble, and then burn out because that bubble is never big enough.
And one of the hardest parts is it's not just online that people are treating you different. It's in real life too.
Oh?
You used to have the same problems as your friends. You used to be relatable. But now, when you try and explain what the infinite torrent of constant love and hate is doing to you, people will smile and say, I bet it's still cool though. You'll be at parties trying to...
Seriously? They actually do that? Because they're only looking at the success and not is the suffering from success comment. And it's not relatable because you have achieved more than anyone else could. But on the other hand, there's now new problems you don't know how to deal with. and no one else can advise you on because the people who you normally would ask before haven't done it, so you can't. That's kind of fucked up.
Relax, and people will walk up to you and tell you they didn't like your most recent video and that they feel like you're going downhill.
Seriously?
And you'll spend the rest of the night trying and failing.
Oh, it's literally the meme. Normally is, they don't know I'm insert random thing here. But this is in grayscale. It's completely flipped colors. So it's not they don't know. It's they all know and you wish they didn't. Huh.
Not to obsess over that. But you can't, because this is everything. This is what you are now. And if you lose it, then what are you?
Unemployed.
What are you after all this has happened? And there's only one answer left.
Nothing.
If you can hit 1 million subscribers, that surely will show your worth. That surely will show that you mattered.
So attaching it to a goal that you think will fix everything that doesn't actually fix everything. It's literally the same problem as couples who are in horrible straits and think the brilliant idea of a baby will make this better. No! I'm a divorced kid. My wife is a divorced kid. Our family, well, I mean, they were our family. So of course they're also divorced kids. That's stupid, but it's a very common thought process of if we had something to draw us together externally, maybe all the problems will be worked through, as opposed to go to therapy or legitimately talk about breaking up because maybe you're just not the right people together and you've changed. That's the mature thing, but people don't do that. And this is also that same problem of here's an external thing that I think will fix everything. Except even like I've mentioned before, subscriber counts are very much not an issue. They're just nice. They're fun to see. They're not going to radically change anything. The only physical, tangible effect they have is mostly a psychological reaction to immediately put more credit on someone with more subscriber count. Because when you see, oh, they have this many subscribers, well, they must know something about this. It's that. That is the actual effect of subscriber count. If no one goes down to see how many subscribers you have, nothing. It means nothing. Which is also why you really should work on just general quality immediately. Because if you have a video that looks like 1 million subscribers, people will believe it and they'll subscribe before realizing, oh, wait, I'm his first subscriber. Shit. Yeah. But it's the same problem because he's setting himself up for whenever he does finally reach that goal and it doesn't actually fix it, there's another layer of burnout coming in because it's not going to fix the problem.
So I want to talk about that final year before I hit 1 million. It was 2020, the year the pandemic hit, at the start of which I dropped one of my...
Oh, he's talking about himself right at the pandemic? The layer of burnout, the layer of, I don't know what's going on. Add to that fucking COVID? That isn't a mental health problem. That is, oh my God, someone get this man a welfare check or whatever the equivalent is in Ireland. That is all of the mental strain of COVID lockdown in Ireland. I heard it was much more severe than anywhere else. Well, I mean, not anywhere else, but more severe than America for many places. Admittedly, America's was very much the please pay attention as opposed to we're going to pay attention.
My biggest videos ever, the bizarre world of fake martial arts.
Oh, so that one actually came before this. I still need to check that one out. Oh boy. On the other hand, people have said this video is more painful than that one, so it'll be a nice step down. Lovely.
Which YouTube has fucking age-gated, despite the fact that UFC can post literally whatever they want. Sorry. That video...
What he's talking about there is an actual problem where if you arrange your own video advertisers, they don't actually enforce their own rules on your videos. It is an actual problem because some people who are going their own way decide to do things that anyone else covering it or calling out or making videos saying, hey, you're doing a thing that's not allowed, will then be themselves age-gated and restricted and punished for pointing out what other people are allowed to do. that's an entire other issue, and it's a problem because the rules only apply if they're managing your ads. If someone else is, cool, have at it. But you can only get to that point if you're a big enough corporation that you can actually approach YouTube in a legal sense to arrange for that. And most of the time, most people can't actually arrange their own ads. And frankly, if there was a way for YouTube groups to arrange their own ads collectively rather than having to do it individually on a channel, it might be a good option. But that's nitty gritty in a way that I'm not going to get into because it involves business. And if I was good at business, admittedly, I wouldn't have been an English major, and that would probably be for the best. To quote every professor I ever had, do something else. I'm paraphrasing, but not by as much as I should. And for one person particularly, I'm actively quoting them.
Led to me getting a massive surge of subscribers to the point that despite the fact I was still 300,000 subscribers away from 1 million,
Damn,
it looked like I might actually hit 1 million by December. And look, I try not to care about that shit. I really do, but
I mean, that's at the point where he's at 700,000. That's the point where you stop thinking so much about subscribers. But suddenly seeing that massive chart go up, it's not a matter of the scale. It's a matter of relative scale. I know that sounds weird, but to put it this way, the jump from 0 subscribers to 10 feels as good as 10 to 100, 100 to 1,000, 1,000 to 100,000. But to get that high, it gets harder and harder and harder to the point where growing at the same rate feels stifling. As someone who's grown at the very same rate, minus a few splurts that were insane, yeah, I got experience with a lot of those various levels. Maybe not to the same size, but because size doesn't matter. And that's the problem here. You can't outgrow the problem. It's always a matter of, ooh, proportionally it's great. But proportionally is going to be a fixed scale that always gets harder and almost impossible to achieve after a while. And so even if he was pulling himself out of the burnout cycle, this is adding fuel to the fire to let him burn out later on.
1 million subscribers is seen as this ultimate validation that you were there, that you succeeded, that you did something that
but people burn out after that because they thought it was going to be the
mark.
All
the hours, all the energy you poured into these
videos. It's like
videos,
a birthday. It's just another
mattered,
number.
like you mattered. And as the year went on, other people started noticing it and saying it to me. People in my Discord, people in my friends, my family, my parents, they were like, oh, you're gonna hit 1 million subscribers by the end of the year. And it's here where I start telling myself the big lie. I tell myself that once I get to 1 million, then that's it. I'm free.
What?
I'm not going to worry about subscribers. I'm not going to worry about view counts. All the weird shit I obsess about with YouTube, I could just let it go. I would be free. I could just make whatever.
And it's not that he'll stop doing it. It's that he should do that immediately for his own mental health. And setting an arbitrary goal isn't going to change anything. And when the not changing anything hits, he'll just come up with a new goal and then he has to deal with that. Or there's going to be a mental health problem.
Whatever I want, because at that point, I will have made it. So I work harder than I've ever worked in my entire life. I'm getting tens of thousands of new subscribers every month. And it started to seem like this was real. This was happening.
But you're also pushing yourself so hard that you're going to inevitably give yourself burnout when you either realize you have to stop or you're made to stop because you've burned out in a physical sense. That's not even just a YouTube problem. That's anyone who's overly grinding their job. Burnout is real in multiple industries. It's not just YouTube. YouTube is more visible because people talk. But if you go to any industry where someone is competitive, where they think, I can do this, I just have to make it so far. And then they get there and realize, I got to keep going at that pace that was killing me to maintain where I'm at right now. And either they're the insane individual who can maintain that level of progress, that level of output, because I can do that, sure. Or they're a normal human being who just managed to get lucky, who managed to push themselves and realize, I can't keep doing this. It will legitimately kill me. It sounds like he's going towards the second camp. What the hell happened to him to make this happen?
But then, towards the end of the year, something else starts to happen. My videos were still getting a lot of views, but I wasn't getting many new subscribers to the point.
Because the initial rush of people who were not already watching your video was burned through. It's one of the reasons YouTube both wants and hates diversifying content. Diversified to see a wider audience of people who wouldn't normally see your videos. But also don't diversify because the people who already see your videos will come back to them. So if he had an initial rush of people, it's the initial rush of people for that video. A lot of them would already be subscribed. So they won't resubscribe. And that niche you just found has already been exploited. And I'm going to just go to a geeky term here. In gaming terms, it's resources on a board that you need to get to gain, but they don't refresh. It's a set amount of resources you have to attribute and then take. Normally, YouTube doesn't have set resources. There's tons of people, but with how YouTube silos people, attention for what they will put your way is based on finding that silo that people have been put into. And once that is more or less used up, there will still be people, but less. That initial rush is over until you find a different wow, I can't speak today. Different video with a slightly different niche that's close enough to what you normally do so that it doesn't completely alienate your previous subscribers, but also different enough that it brings in a new batch that haven't previously been exposed. So there's that massive rush of, oh, wow, we just found this guy, and people rush in. It's really cool, and it's actually not a bad way to do it, to silo the viewers to then show to people whose channels have diversified and made videos to fit that niche that already exists. Frankly, if YouTube would just release, here's the niches we're filling out, it would be exploited immediately. But that's basically how it feels to work. But the problem is, when that initial rush is over, then you just have general practice, and it's not bad. But the initial rush isn't there, and it hits hard. It feels like you're failing, not we've hit the vein, we've gone through the vein. Now we're just looking for the basic ore.
Point that my growth slowed to a crawl. And it's hard not to panic when that kind of shit happens, you know, but it happens everyone. I hit December, and I'm still 50,000 subscribers away from 1 million. That's more subscribers than I've ever gotten in a single month by a...
I mean, that's more than I've got in almost 8 years. Admittedly, it was really close in 1 year, which is still weird, but yeah. But it's not the numbers that matter right here. What matters is the scale he's talking about, the relative scale. And I keep coming back to that because that's basically the problem there. It's not, here's numbers, big number, good. It's, here's numbers, not as good compared to old numbers. It's also why in business, whenever someone is growing, but they're growing at a smaller rate because they've already kind of capitalized on their market. So there's not going to be as much growth because the people who like it are just going to keep giving them money. But that's the money they're going to get. They can't account for that and want it more. It's why you see gaming companies get closed down because their growth isn't good enough. Not that they're not profitable, that they're not growing fast enough, that they have their niche, but they have their niche. A lot of businesses, if they've been corporate, if they have shareholders or upper management who's disconnected so that they can just move around and reshuffle things, will just kill production companies because you're growing, but you're not growing fast enough. The curve isn't high enough, and we could put our resources somewhere else that will. And what he's talking about right there is the economy of relative scale. I hate everything about this.
Wide margin. And so I consign to the fact that like it's just not happening. You know, and I feel bad. And the weird part is I feel guilty to all those people who told me I was going to make it in 2020, you know, and that doesn't even make sense because I know no one but me actually cares about this stuff. But, you know, it's whatever. It's fine. But then on December 20th, I dropped my final video of the year.
Oh.
It's called What the Internet Did to Undertale.
Oh. I have seen that video. It is actually a very nice look at a community that I knew nothing about, and now I just really love the fan animations. Still can't play the game because it requires skill, which I don't have. The Twitch reaction timing hand-eye coordination, or just coordination. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. But that was a very good video, and it was fascinating, and I think this is one of the ones that really took off too. So he's getting that dopamine hit again, huh?
And it blows up massively, like nothing I had ever seen before. And that week I get 10,000 new subscribers, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, and it is exhilarating. I cannot believe it. And
the but coming up is that when the initial rush from that video petters out, it feels horrible because he's going to go back to what he had before with maybe a small trickle more coming in from this video, but the initial rush is over. Because not every video does that good when you have those burst videos. So he's setting himself up for an even higher round of depression because what he was trying to get thrown in his face is going to come back all the same. But he's going to be over 1 million at this point, so he doesn't even have that, well, we'll get there eventually. It's going to be a flat out, no. You just won't.
I head home to my parents for Christmas, and we're all aware that this is happening, and it's exciting. Then, on December 26th, the day after Christmas, I'm sitting there in my parents' spare room playing Senran Kagura because I have the emotional problems.
That's a video game? Huh, the more you know.
And I get a text from my friends, and it just says, lol, 1 million. And I check, and there it is, right beside my name. And it's surreal. And I sit back, and I wait for that sense of euphoria to kick in. I wait for that sense of freedom. And I wait, and I wait, and I wait.
And it doesn't come.
And I don't feel anything.
As an accomplishment to say, hey, I've done this, yeah, you get that. But that's not what he's looking for. He's looking for a relief from the stress, relief from the need to keep grinding, the need to always try and push and go further than what you're probably safely able to do. And that's why he can't even enjoy that mark. Damn.
I remember looking around the room, and this really weird thought comes to my mind. This bed, this chair, these walls, they're all exactly the same as they were a couple of seconds ago.
Yep.
Nothing's different. I am the same. And it's confusing. And out of that confusion comes two words, and they...
Before he gets to that, I just want to point out that what he's describing isn't just a YouTube problem. And I know I've said that with other things so far, but one of the ways that this hits people the most frequently is retirement. People define themselves by their jobs. They are what they do. He is describing someone who is defining themselves by their jobs to an unhealthy level. Most people who have more stable, maybe not as lucrative, but stable work come to see themselves as what they have done. It's how they define themselves. When you retire, you don't have that hat anymore, and you have to realize, what am I now? You're just yourself. But that's not a thought people have had. My parents are weird. They're insane. They don't define themselves by their work, mostly because my mom hated her job. She was an English major in an accounting firm. I don't need to say more to understand exactly what's going on there, because the thought of doing that on my end, actually even worse, liberal arts major. Yeah, my dad's a mechanic who has so many put off projects due to probably having ADHD that he is going to die of old age before he can finish the literal households filled with projects he's trying to make. But that's because my family's weird. I'm weird. I know that. But for a lot of people, that suddenly reevaluating of what do I define myself as, if not that, define myself as, wow. is when you reach it and you're much later in, but you spend way more time doing it. But you also have way less success getting to that point. Sometimes it's not just a general retirement thing, but even a life-changing middle life crisis, it's sometimes based around that realization of this is what I've been doing. This is how I define myself, and I shouldn't, or I need to do something different, and trying to redefine yourself because, well, the way you've been doing it, it's not healthy, man. Defining yourself as your job is not healthy. And that's kind of what we're seeing here to a much more exaggerated extent, a much faster extent. But it's the same basic problem, just writ different.
They scare the shit out of me. What now?
Because he was burning himself to do it.
I don't know what's now. I don't know what comes next. There is no answer. There's nothing.
Yep.
I get depressed. And I stay that way for a really long time.
Year or a month.
Before those feelings eventually manifest into the video, Space Jam 2 is a lie.
Okay, I was not expecting that, and now I'm absolutely terrified to find out.
I really wish I was joking about that. I am not. If you want to know what's over the 1 million subscriber mountain,
You know, I was going to watch the fake martial artist video next, or maybe go to one of the really lighthearted wrestling ones, which are just dopamine. They're just fun. But now I'm kind of wondering, should I go watch the Super Eyepatch Wolf Depression Arc Space Jam video? I don't know. I'm not sure I want to, but also I'm morbidly curious. So I'm just going to ask you right now, should I? I really don't know.
there isn't anything. There is just the journey that brought you there. And I really wish I'd spent less of that journey caring what people I never met think of me, or obsessing over numbers and letting those.
Because it's going back to the old thing. It's not the destination, it's the journey to get there. Except his journey to get there sucked.
Numbers dictate my value as a person. That is what this job does to you. That is what it's like being a content creator. And I still think you should do it.
Admittedly, I'm not going to disagree with him on this part. It's fun. If you do it for fun. If you do it for money, there better already be money coming in. And you must be treating it like a job, and treating it like a job where you want to have time off still. If you're no-lifing it, no life is in the actual phrase. Don't. But just as something to have fun with, something to get that little boost of dopamine, as long as you don't go too far, as long as you don't make it your job without it being at that level yet, it's great. And I'd still recommend it. Hell, I'm someone who just does it as a part-time side hustle, and I like it that way. Would I love if it would ever go differently? Sure. It would be weird. Also, I'd then have to pony up for better internet, and that is Comcast. If you need to explain why I'm saying it that way, I'm so very jealous that if I needed to explain it to you, you don't know, and you should never find out. It is horrible. Please don't ask.
You see, there's this anime called Blue Period. Blue Period is a show
Ooh, I've actually heard about this one. I didn't know if it was in English or not, and I can't read subtitles, but I've heard it's good.
I love so dearly because it's a show about just the joy of making things. It is about the euphoria that comes with expressing yourself through your art.
Admittedly, there's an entire segment of these videos on YouTube in a lot of different categories. I usually go into the mini painting ones, but it's just the love of art and expressing yourself through random bullshit paint on miniatures. If it's the same as this show, I don't know, but I've heard it explained the same way, which is one of the reasons I want to watch this show.
Making something that makes you happy. And
he's trying to
I love this show because it reminded me of how important that is. The highest I get is the feeling of writing something that feels like an honest expression of myself.
The fuck?
I get is the feeling of writing something that feels like an honest expression of myself.
I'm sorry. Writing all of those words without making a single key mistake? Dear God, when I type, it's chicken shit. My handwriting is actually admittedly just about the same, so it doesn't really change anything, but I'm sorry, I'm having typing jealousy right now.
The feeling of then recording that writing to dialogue and cutting that dialogue into a piece of footage in a way that...
Oh, well, that's interesting. Sorry, on my end, I'm going on more weeds on this one. I usually have my, well, you can see it right here. Ah, there. I got my gain turned down. So the actual volume coming in is really low, and then I artificially raise it up because it doesn't have any pitch issues. But if he already has it at this level, unless he's already done the edits on that, he would have had a much louder input initially. Huh. Interesting way to do that.
changes.
Although you might have already edited in the audio values.
I even love watching the resulting video back and realizing it's kind of bad. And
I don't think I can ever empathize with that. Like, enjoying watching it back. Like, realizing it's bad? Sure. Enjoying watching yourself talk. I can do little random edits to have things fly in and out. Sure, that's kind of cool. Seeing my face and hearing my voice? Oh, hell no. That is torture, man. Mostly because everyone hears their own voice through their head, through their inner reverberation of their own skull. So it actually changes how they perceive their voice versus how everyone else hears it. For me, when I hear my own voice, I sound like a teeny 5-year-old to my own ears, and it is horrible. So I honestly don't think I can empathize with enjoying that. The rest of it, realizing it's shit and you gotta do it anyways, sure, that makes sense. But liking the sound of that, oof, like not absolutely dreading that part of every video, that is very different for me. But I think that might be a me thing.
Then doing it 6 more times until it starts to work. That is what I love
Yep.
about this job. When I had 10 subscribers and at over 1 million, that's what I still love about it. And the thing I want people to take away from this video is that you don't need 1 million subscribers to...
Also, this is just one of those weird asides. The monitors have different frame rates. So the actual amount here, this one is a much higher refresh monitor because it's fast enough that the camera can capture it, but this one is at a different frequency. Although it could just be a frequency difference rather than a refresh rate difference. So you can see the flickering here. It exists when you do cameras, for example, electricity flicker patterns in America versus Europe or Japan. They have different frequencies the electricity comes in at, so you can actually see that visibly on the screen. It's why sometimes you record a screen and there's lines on it. It's different patterns and different frequencies. I wonder if a refresh rate would get over that. I don't actually know. But it's kind of cool to see the monitors actually have that difference here. And they also have different color options. This one's more red versus this one, which is more neutral. Huh.
feel that way. The reality is, finding success on social media, building a following, it is difficult, creeping towards impossible, and it's only getting harder.
And
But
if you
that
succeed, there's other
doesn't
pitfalls.
have to matter. Your art doesn't have value because of what other people think of it. It matters because of how it makes you feel. And don't let social media or these stupid fucking courses make you believe otherwise. Make the content you want to make and have a great time doing it.
Yep.
And not only do I genuinely believe that that's the only real way to make other people care about it, but even if it doesn't work out, you still spend time making something you love, and that will never be a waste.
Yes! Every step of the way, yes! I have been saying that for literally multiple videos now, and I stand by it, and apparently he agrees. Just do it because it's fun. Everything else is extra. And as long as you treat it that way, it's a lot healthier, apparently. God, I didn't even realize some of the other shit he's talked about, but...
That is genuinely the best advice I could give you, and I am not alone in that.
I guess if you were to give advice to people starting out in YouTube now, what would it be?
It's a bad idea, don't do it. But if hearing that, if being told it's a bad idea, don't do it, makes you respond with like, Well, no. I want
Love his
to
mic.
do it. Like I really want to, it's like I want to do YouTube. I want to make.
I know this is going to be weird, but I'm absolutely having mic envy right now. I like my mic. It's fine. But this old style radio announcer mic where you have the metal grill on top of it, it's hanging down. That's just so classic. I'm just sitting here going like, dude, the only thing better would be like one of the circular ones with a metal frame around it with a brass tint. There's just something incredibly classic and cheesy, but also amazing to me. And I just love that aspect.
Make YouTube videos. I have something to say. I have an idea for content that I want to put out there. I have an idea for art that I want to make. Then absolutely ignore the advice and do it.
You have to be just doing something that you actually care about, and I don't think you could go into it now thinking, I'm gonna be big.
The first sentence that came to my mind is, don't do it if you don't want to. It's not important to be a YouTuber. You don't have to be one. And that might sound demotivating. It's really not trying to. I think anybody who wants to be a YouTuber should try it. But don't feel like it's like it's not a mystical occupation. It's just a thing you can do.
Because once you start chasing the algorithm, chasing trending topics, and keeping a schedule to please a fan base, or because you think the algorithm wants you to do regular uploads, which it doesn't, by the way.
Yeah, the reason is technically I think there is a fall off if you go more than 48 hours right now, but that's just my style of content. For other people, it's very different. It depends on your style. That said, a lot of the reason people see that initially is because a lot of people come to your videos, check out your newest video, which gets promoted because it's new, and then they're led to other videos you've done. Without that new video, there's just less people being promoted to your other videos because the big shiny isn't there. So what would be coming from that secondary also isn't there. So it looks like there's a huge fall off, which admittedly is promoting the idea and accurately describing it as it does promote videos every day. On the other hand, it's also promoting the big shiny thing that's drawing all the views. If there's a video that's doing great, obscenely good, cool, neat. It'll do exactly what your new video would do because it'll be getting promoted just as much. But that's kind of how that works right there. So the algorithm does kind of push it that way, but not just because of that.
Once you start doing that, it's a ticking clock on burnout, or how long before your content suffers and your reason for even making content dies.
Don't focus
Mascot
on
in here?
numbers because it'll eat you alive. It'll eat your brain.
I mean, we should definitely listen to her. She's already in hell, so it definitely worked. My wife's going to kill me for that joke. She actually loves Iron Mouse.
I would say make videos that you enjoy making on
Still love that
topics
giant
that
spider.
you enjoy talking about, and share them with friends or share them with people in like-minded fandoms. And, the longer you do it, the better you'll get. And you have to accept that you can keep at it if you enjoy it without seeing your views grow right away. I feel like if you're not enjoying it, then what's the point in making that your career?
Just basically accept now that you will fail, and make something that you're happy with having made, and that's all it has to be. I don't think there is any other way to do it. If you try and do it on purpose, you never end up actually happy, even if you are successful.
I understand that the way media and technology has gone, it's conditioned us to believe that our creations only have value if someone else is watching. And it's not true. There is nothing wrong with you if other people don't pay attention to your art. That art is for you. That is enough.
Admittedly, that's not just a YouTube thing. Van Gogh, for example, he sold one painting because his brother took it, his brother sold it, and Van Gogh, from what I've heard, the term panic attack or rage fit were both used to describe his reaction when he found out his brother did that. He would pay for things by going into the town and giving people his paintings for a cup of coffee, for a meal. he was basically the town bum, except after he died and people were poking around the town, they found out that everyone had paintings because he would just go and pay for them. And they just put them in back closets. And it's like, oh, yeah, your closet's now worth more than the average income of everyone. Except in this town where everyone is now multi-millionaires at a time when $1 million was the equivalent of $1 billion right now because inflation. It's kind of like that. It's art for your sake. Also, admittedly, Van Gogh's a horrible example because he was probably bipolar, which led to a lot of the problems he had, and eventually shooting himself and then getting sepsis and blood poison and dying horribly. But the point still stands. Badly, but it stands.
I promise.
It is done. And yeah, this was a lot easier than last week. Last week, I just saw the absolute most soul-destroying part of this video, and I quit right before it got good. So frankly, I made it harder on myself. This time around, this was nice. It was cool. It was maybe still dark, seeing how the other side, not just the failure at the beginning would crush you, but how you could still be crushed later on, which I've heard bits and pieces of people talking about, but I never got that entire thought process all the way through to see that. And it's fascinating and terrifying, but still, you still want to succeed. You still want to get there. You want to get to the point where these are the problems you start to have because it's different problems, if nothing else. I'm weird. I know I want different problems, not the ones I'm used to because I'm bored with my current problems. I'm weird. I'm aware of that. But it's just much more aspirational to still say, yeah, but still go for it, because if you're doing this for fun, you can still have fun. You can still make things because it's fun. Also, I'm just going to go check out the Blue Period video. Might do a video, it might not, because anything to touch anime gets copyright claimed and struck, and I just don't want to deal with that. I might just go watch it because I want to see that. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I also do want to check out that Space Jam 2 is Alive video because I want to know what the hell his mental state was like when he was making a video, specifically because of that. Although I want to do that for mostly, what the fuck am I getting in? 2 reasons. It's like a morbid curiosity right now. Also, quick shout out to Brobex, who did the animation that was absolutely batshit insane. I thought Super Eyepatch Wolf went there because he mentioned he worked as an animator or in animation. Don't know what he did. Would love to find out. Don't know. But Brobex did that instead, and frankly, really good animation. If he did more like that, I'd love to check it out. That's cool. Especially with just the faces, the exaggerated mania before the crushing realization and depression sets in. Great facial expressions are some of the things I love in animation. That guy did an amazing job. That said, this is probably one of the hardest and most painful videos I've ever done from Super Eyepatch Wolf. I thought the Garfield was crazy because it was legitimately insane to the point where my mind felt like it was breaking. I thought the fake psychic video was insane because it legitimately enraged me. And this one is insane because it legitimately hurts. It's right in your face. You get it right in the gut. Stabs you right through the chest. And you just realize, oh, I'm in a position where this is me. I'm in this. And in multiple times that hurt in different, unique ways I didn't think would be possible, but they were. But it still ends on the happy note of, despite everything, it's still fun. And I'm going to stand by that. Even with all of the shit this video is pointing out, it's still fun. And I'd still recommend it, even with this, before or after. Maybe that's just because I'm weird. It's true. I am. I'm aware. But who knows? Maybe if you will, do enjoy it too. If it is, neat. Good luck. All the same, though, I'm going to probably go check on the kittens because they're very quiet right now. And that's usually not a good thing right now. Oh, they probably ate something. Oh, boy. We'll find it in the litter box, whatever it is. That's not making it better. Yeah. More importantly, thanks for watching, everyone. There's a video linked below to the original one. Hit it up. And if you know what I should check out next, let me know. If it's a fake martial arts video, I know that's going to hurt. I'm aware. But if it's something else, neat. Either way, I'll see you then. Adios.